So the Rams have officially made an offer for Christian McCaffrey, but is it worth it? Find out now. All right, welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we will be talking about the Rams and Christian McCaffrey, all of the trade buzz, and in addition to that, we're going to be talking and pretty much analyzing whether or not this makes any sort of sense for the Rams. Before we get into that, I'd ask that you leave a like and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. You can comment at any time. I'll definitely look at that comment and get back to you on that. But let's take a gander here because the Rams, the 49ers, and the Buffalo Bills have all offered trade offers to the Carolina Panthers for Christian McCaffrey. And before I even speculate how much that could be, let me just remind you that the Carolina Panthers want 2 first-rounders for Christian McCaffrey, according to Peter Schrager. And that is a little high. And I'm going to explain why I believe that's high for a guy that's only 26 years old, has 7,000 total yards, and 50 total touchdowns in his career. Look, the Panthers want 2 firsts. I understand if they don't want to trade him and they're just seeing if they could possibly do that, then maybe they'll consider it. But if they are trying to trade him, I don't think 2 firsts is the best way to do that. First off, the health concerns. When you look at Christian McCaffrey, you immediately think of a walking injury. Yes, he's an elite player when he's healthy, and we saw that against the Rams. He went over 100 total yards easily and really looked good. And I know that's what the Rams saw, and that's why they're interested and beyond that. But here's the real concern. First off, do you want to give up that capital when eventually at some point Matthew Stafford is going to retire and you are going to need the next quarterback up? Do the Rams really want to give up 2 firsts, which would be a second this year, a first in 2024, and potentially another pick in 2025 to even match what they're asking? Would you really want to do that and run the risk of not getting a franchise quarterback to develop behind, Matthew Stafford? I don't know. But addition to that, running back is not the biggest need on this roster. I don't really think it's that much of a need. Right now, we know Cam Akers wants to be traded. We know that Darrell Henderson is consistent. He's led your entire roster, your entire backfield since he joined the league in 2019 in yards per carry average. You have Malcolm Brown, who you like Ronnie Rivers, and you actually traded up to go get him in the 5th round, Kyren Williams. So I don't necessarily think that the running back position is a need. If you really want to go out and get somebody, maybe you swap Cam Akers for a Melvin Gordon in Denver. Do you really need Christian McCaffrey? Well, at the same time, I understand why you would want him. Because if Sean McVay is looking at this offense like, man, I miss Gurley, but I don't just miss Todd Gurley. I miss Todd Gurley from 2017 and 18. That Todd Gurley allowed me to open up the playbook and really do whatever I wanted. That would be kind of the aspect of going out and getting Christian McCaffrey. I would understand that more because you're getting a guy who can be a transcendent talent in the backfield, but also out of the backfield as a pass catcher and just do it all. And when you look at what Todd Gurley was doing, Christian McCaffrey is the better receiver. So that offers a lot there. And then in addition to that, you already have Cooper Kupp, who's the best wide receiver in the league. Allen Robinson's gaining some steam now, just had a really nice game. Van Jefferson could be coming back, after the bye. Then you look at, potentially getting OBJ. You have Tutu Atwell. You have Brandon Powell. You have Ben Skoranek. You have Tyler Higbee, who's second in targets. So there's a lot to like here if you're the Rams thinking maybe this is your final piece to the puzzle. Maybe this could transcend even a bad offensive line, which just played well against a team that has 88 pressures going into the game. So there's a lot here, a lot to unpack. But the most important thing before anybody takes anything that I say to the bank, I need you to understand that I totally understand why Christian McCaffrey is being, offered for. I understand why they're interested. I mean, in a perfect world, if he stays healthy, that offense is going to be absolutely lethal. Imagine having Christian McCaffrey and Darrell Henderson and Kyren Williams in that backfield. I mean, you're going to be pretty set. In addition to that, Henderson is also a free agent after the year. Keep that in mind. So with that said, I totally get it, right? But Christian McCaffrey's injury history isn't just, he's injured a little bit. It's not like how it's made out with Henderson, okay? Darrell Henderson has had some injuries, but they haven't been extremely serious, and he's played 80%, 80+% of his games. Christian McCaffrey has been a walking injury report. And if you don't believe me, I'm unfortunately going to tell you everything here. 23 missed games in his career. He has 29 weeks on the injury report in his career. 5 missed due to an ankle sprain, 5 missed due to a hamstring strain, 4 missed due to a thigh injury, 3 missed due to an AC joint sprain, and 6 missed due to a high ankle. I have no doubt that if he stays healthy in this offense, I mean, he could have his best year ever. He's playing with Cooper Kupp. He's not going to be keyed in on all the time. As good as DJ Moore is, they really haven't gotten the ball to him this year, and he's not Cooper Kupp. So now that you have Cooper Kupp, now it kind of takes the whole attention off him. And I would liken this to Von Miller last year, who I felt was a luxury. But Von Miller opened up things for AD, and AD opened up things for Von Miller, and both of them opened up things for Leonard Floyd. Well, now when you look at it, you get a Christian McCaffrey here who's going to open up maybe things for Kupp, things will open up for Christian McCaffrey, things will open up for Van and Allen Robinson and Tyler Higbee, and all of a sudden this offense becomes almost impossible to defend. So that's another thing here. And keep in mind this, you have a really tough time protecting the quarterback, and albeit they just came off a really good week doing that, but this is also kind of your get-out-of-jail-free card. If you don't have a good, offensive line, you could always have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield in like a slip screen, and he's a really good check down piece to have. I mean, we saw that last week. So there's a lot to like here, a lot to understand, but Christian McCaffrey is not worth top dollar. He's not worth 2 first-rounders. 2 first-rounders, I don't even think you get the best receiver in the league for that. It would have to be a quarterback for me. The Rams didn't even give up multiple, first-round picks for, a guy in Brandon Cooks who is huge for them. They gave up 2 for Jalen Ramsey because he was a cornerstone franchise piece. They give up multiple picks for Matthew Stafford because he's a cornerstone franchise piece. Christian McCaffrey, as great as he is going to be 30 at some point, and all running backs, pretty much all of them except for Frank Gore and a few others, go to die at running back age 30. So, with that said, I do know over 7,000 yards, 50+ touchdowns, but the injuries are legit, and I am concerned. There is a real scenario here where the Rams get happy. They decide we're going to offer you a second and a first rounder, second rounder this year, a first rounder in 2024. And they're going to mortgage the future to get their potential future quarterback for Stafford. I'm not necessarily saying they would pick that quarterback in 2024, but it also, keep this in mind, it's your currency to go out and get a pass rusher, which I do believe they need even more than a running back. I've said that. This pass rush is not great. Aside from Aaron Donald, who makes up the majority of it, this pass rush just is not very good. It's gotten to the point where, people don't want to talk about it because they're like, well, it'll get there, it'll get there. Yeah, but it's still a concern. I still look at it as a concern. I'm not exactly thrilled, seeing Aaron Donald being the majority of it. You're getting, 15, 16 pressures from your edge defenders. I definitely would rather have another Panther on this roster than Brian Burns, but apparently he's not even available. So if he's not available, I don't know. Could the Rams try to throw him in the deal? Could they be like, hey, Carolina, if you throw him in the deal, for Christian McCaffrey, we'll throw you over a second rounder, third rounder this year, and then a first rounder next year. Do you even do that? I don't know. I think Brian Burns is a guy that I'd pay 2 first rounders for. So maybe you offer a 2025 first rounder. It gets kind of confusing at that point. But if it's just McCaffrey, then I think the only thing that you could offer, and I still think this is a little high, is the second round pick in 2023. The Rams have already had plenty of experience drafting in the third round. They did it this past year. They've done it before. And they've done a nice job, I think, with the draft, going out and getting starters and guys that can come in and contribute. 7th round pick in Ben Skoranek, 6th round pick in Darion Kendrick. I mean, when you look at what they've acquired with those later round picks, it's allowed them to do what they do. And so I can't see that stopping. I think they'll find a couple of those guys this upcoming draft. So with that said, I think the Rams did offer a second round pick for Christian McCaffrey. I know the Rams do like to up the ante. It seems like they offer more just to solidify the deal. So I would not put it past Les Snead to offer a second and maybe a fourth, which would be one of the compensatory picks they got. So I think a second and a fourth this year, and they get Christian McCaffrey. And now here's the reason why Christian McCaffrey's 2 first-round picks are almost justified, that price tag, because you have Christian McCaffrey at 26 years old, who just turned 26 years old in June. He's literally younger than I am, and you have him under contract until 2026 when he becomes a free agent at age 30. So it's very intriguing here because the Rams have a chance to get a guy that, I mean, if this guy just randomly, magically stayed healthy in a backfield that seems relatively cursed with how many injuries there are every single year, it seems like, now all of a sudden that becomes kind of worth it. Again, the Rams couldn't offer 2 first-round picks because this is the last year of the Stafford deal, so it would have to be a second and a first in 2024. That is too much for me. So if the Rams could do it for a second rounder, as much as I love Darrell Henderson, if Christian McCaffrey did stay healthy, that would be quite the tandem there. You can bring in Henderson and pass pro. You could bring him in. You can have them both in. I think at that point, if you go out and get Christian McCaffrey, you should be using split back with him and Darrell Henderson. You didn't use it with him and Cam Akers, but that would be some tandem there. Now, what's my final thoughts on this? Because I've kind of rambled on here and explained everything in painstaking detail, all of my reasonings and all that. But what is the final verdict? Do I think they should trade for him? No, I want a pass rusher. I would rather keep that second round pick for a pass rusher. However, if the Rams feel like they can take advantage of having Christian McCaffrey and he's going to stay healthy and they feel good about his medical and all of that, if they really feel good enough about it, I'd say go for it. If you can get him for a second round pick, I'd say go for it. Second and a fourth round pick is a little higher, but I'd say if you really have a plan, if this isn't just, oh, this is a nice toy, but we're not going to, no, you need to get him 20, 25, maybe even 30 carries, not carries, but touches a game. You have to understand, you making this investment means that you're basically putting it all on the line here. It can open up everything over the field, which definitely helps, but you also have to get Christian McCaffrey the rock. So that is a big thing for Sean McVay, who I don't think has managed the running backs very well. There were times when Todd Gurley was clearly the best running back in the NFL, and Todd Gurley wasn't running the ball enough. Todd Gurley stopped getting the ball in the receiving game. So I do have some questions, but for a second rounder, I would do it if you really have a plan. If the Rams aren't just sitting here and like, yeah, this is Madden for us, great player, let's grab him. If they have a legit plan, and this is something with the bye, they could put this thing together, get Christian McCaffrey ready to go for the 49ers game coming out of the bye, and now all of a sudden you're cooking with fire. Now, I will say this. I know the 49ers are interested in him and they want him, but you can't be the team that just goes after Christian McCaffrey because the Niners are interested, because the Bills are interested, and you're looking at the Bills as maybe a Super Bowl, team that you face, and the 49ers as obviously your rivals. You shouldn't bid against yourself, and I feel like you would be doing that if you let those teams get involved with actual first round, capital. So I think when it's all said and done, I kind of have a feeling the Rams could get him. I think this is very real. I think them offering a deal definitely makes it real. And I think the one thing here is that the Rams have a lot of experience in closing these deals. Von Miller, okay, they have a lot of experience with this. You look at him, you look at, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Ramsey, getting the deal done with Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib and getting those, guys out. I mean, getting those guys in to begin with, they have experience doing these deals, and the 49ers, I don't think would outbid the Rams. If the Rams really want McCaffrey and they feel like he is what is going to by far take them to the level of repeating, they'll do this deal and they'll pay a price for it. So the good thing here is that if he stays healthy, you have him under control until 2026. And you do have an out after 2023. But theoretically, giving up top dollar. I wouldn't necessarily want an out in Christian McCaffrey's deal. So 2026, that would be it. He'd be a free agent. You'd probably be done with him because he'd be 30. But that becomes very interesting. So I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think the Rams are going to get him? Right now, I kind of have a 45 to 50% chance the Rams get him, which is a lot higher than I initially anticipated. I can totally see it happening, but we're going to find out whether or not he goes there. And I will say, I personally would cut the deal at the second round pick. I think a second and fourth is too much. I think that's what they'll offer. I think at the end of the day, if the Rams do acquire him, it's a second and a fourth. But I'd like to see them use Darrell Henderson more. And when Kyren Williams comes back, have a legit role in this offense. I liked what I saw to Ronnie Rivers. If they're going to have this committee backfield, then I don't think they need to spend this, this money, this type of, capital on Christian McCaffrey. But if they have a plan for him, like I said, I get it. So they better have a plan for him is all I'm saying if they're going to do this. And I will say this final thing, this acquisition, I will say, does not mean OBJ would not be a Ram. And this acquisition also doesn't mean that if they give up a second round and a fourth round pick for McCaffrey, it's not like they couldn't give up a third, or like maybe even a later pick, giving up like a fifth for Robert Quinn. So that is still in everything is still a possibility. I'm not ruling anything out. This Rams team wants to repeat. So their job, while obviously the books, you're going to want to look long term, their job is to repeat and take this team back and run it back. And I would not be surprised if they made a myriad of trades right before the deadline. And I wouldn't be surprised if McCaffrey, if he does get traded to the Rams, he's a Ram by the end of the bye week to get him acclimated for the 49er game. I wouldn't be surprised if they got Brian Burns. It's a matter of, will the Panthers let him go? Brian Burns and McCaffrey, I'd be a little surprised. But I think bottom line is the Rams already, requesting a trade or requesting, showing a deal, showing their hand, having that even reported. That tells me the Rams are going to be players at the deadline, no doubt about it. It will be a shock if there isn't a new guy wearing horns after the trade deadline. But that's what I have for you guys. You guys let me know your thoughts. Should you go and trade for Christian McCaffrey in fantasy anticipation of him being a Ram? I would, not just for him being a Ram, but he might be a Bill. He might be a 49er. I think both make a lot of sense for him. So if he stays healthy, he could be an absolute force, and we're going to see. So that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and I'm out of here. You guys take care. Later.